everybody, and welcome back. It's Bill 2013 here in beautiful San Francisco. It's Golden Oz, and right now I'm in the gaming lounge in the middle of all the action, as you can see. And you know how we do on Channel 9. We have 3 days of beautiful content streaming to you live with our rock star host, Charles Torrey. And right now I'm playing with my Windows device in this Sphero lounge, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm winning, but I'm having way too much fun over here. So I'm going to let Charles Torrey take over. Rock and roll, baby!
Right on, G-Money. That was awesome. Wow, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you, G-Money, Golnus. And we're really happy to have Steven Guggenheimer here. We call him Googs.
Yep.
You are the Vice President of DPE and the Chief Evangelist of Microsoft.
That's right.
Right on, man. Well, hey, that keynote was amazing.
I thought it was really good. Those guys did a great job. Antoine, always on fire. Julie, smooth as I've ever seen her. Gurdeep had some cool stuff to show. Obviously, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. And then, of course, Steve. You know, Steve is Steve. It's all energy and all real clear.
Absolutely. So the last time you were on Channel 9 Live was about literally like 9 months ago up in Redmond.
Yep.
So Steve had mentioned rapid release. I mean, now we have 8.1.
I know 9 months later. I was 3 weeks in the job the last time I came on here. So that was the first. Look, 9 months is a short time. We've never done sort of a professional developer conference, whether it be a PDC or a build within a 1 year window. Yeah. And so that speaks a lot. And the truth is we got a lot to talk about. Like part of getting ready for the keynotes is like, how do we fit it all in? I mean, you saw some this morning. You got 8.1 up there. You saw what Gurdeep's doing with the Bing platform. We've got all the Azure stuff tomorrow. And those guys have been rocking and rolling. You saw it at Tech Ed. You're going to see more tomorrow. And then Chuck and myself, we got a bunch to show. So in a 9 month window, there's a lot of code. I mean, there's a conversation to be had here.
Absolutely. So now, I mean, with Windows 8.1, which of course everybody can get today, just go to the preview.windows.com or something like that.
Just go to the store at some point. It's going to give you the
you got
ping,
to get the update.
Yep.
Rock and roll. Totally free update. Enjoy. Talk a little bit about what Windows 8.1 means. I mean, like, how does it tie things together?
There's a couple things. One, I think we did a good job, one, thinking ahead, and two, listening. So when we released Windows 8, look, we changed everything. We changed the user experience model. We changed the developer model, all the API set. We changed the hardware model. That's a lot of change. So we knew when we shipped it, we'd have to keep running through because there'd be new hardware for this holiday. We'd get feedback on the user experience. We know that developers would give us feedback on things they needed. You take that, which is a mentality that says we're going to keep running instead of stopping and starting to replan. Two, we're going to take feedback along the way. Hey, users like this. Hey, developers told us that. And what you get is in a 9 month window, you get a really awesome release because it blends the best of what we knew we needed to go finish with real-time feedback. And I think the results speak for itself. You guys, tell us what you think, but we got some good feedback off the keynote, and I'm hearing good stuff.
Right on, man. Now, one of the things that LeBlanc had talked about was the fact that we're still committed to the desktop. Because a lot of the feedback I know we've had on Channel 9, our audience or developers, like, what's going on with the desktop, man?
I know. You look, 700,000 apps for the desktop, and it just doesn't go away. I was at Computex, and there's a couple things. Computex is a big show in Taiwan on hardware. One of the things that is important to highlight is all the new hardware that's coming out. Like all those desktop apps can take advantage of it. I showed off Adobe Illustrator taking advantage of the inking, so I don't have to get a Wacom tablet. Antoine showed some stuff today with the hardware in terms of the scaling. Like using the scaling, that probably got the biggest applause. We can argue between that and the async debugging, but got great applause. So the ability for existing desktop apps to take advantage of all the new hardware coming and work awesome and then have some new capabilities, that's rich. And tomorrow in the keynote we're doing, we're going to talk a little bit about .NET because I think that's one of the other questions we get all the time. So stay tuned for that because I think we haven't done as good a job as we can about talking about both the desktop and .NET and how to go forward. So we want to make sure we clear the air on that tomorrow. We may make sure we give you a little more information. So we're going to work on that.
Excellent, man. Now, you mentioned the keynote tomorrow. There is a keynote tomorrow, and you're going to be a big part of that. You and John Shuchuk. Shuchuk. Forgive me, John. He will be on Channel 9 Live tomorrow as well.
One of the top 20 developers in the company.
Nice, man.
High praise.
Hey, definitely. And he was like behind Indigo, yes?
He was part of Indigo. He was WCF and WIF, if I remember correctly.
All right.
Go all the way back to Blackbird. He's been here like 20 years.
Nice, man.
AD. So if you want to really geek out on Active Directory, John's all in.
Excellent. So we have a first question. Thank you, Niners. When will 8.1 be released?
Well, we got the preview build now. As always, we don't have the fixed date. The goal would be to get it out there before holiday, but we got to wait and see what the feedback's like. Right now, we're on good trajectory. I'd say, hey, download it, give us feedback, and then we'll learn more about when we can release it.
Excellent. Another question from Atif is, can we get upgrade free if we have 8.0?
Yeah, absolutely. The beauty of 8.1 is if you have Windows 8, you get Windows 8.1, and you can go to the store and it'll actually give you a little notification, hey, 8.1 is here, and you just click it and you'll download. And if you don't want to do it right then, you come back and do it later. Or if you go to an app that takes advantage of some of the new capabilities in 8.1 or a new piece of hardware, it'll prompt you and say, hey, here you go get 8.1. So it's free to you, it's free to anybody that has 8.0.
Awesome, man. Now listen, in the keynote,
Yep.
Gurdeep from the Bing team,
Yep.
I think let's talk about it. Bing is a platform.
Yeah, that's a big deal. So, I talk a lot with developers, and some of the things the Bing guys are doing, super interesting, whether it's speech-to-text translation or obviously the full data set, but entities, and again, we'll show a little bit more of this tomorrow. The fact that you can take all of the 20 years worth of work, starting back to MSN and then Bing, or 15 years worth of work, and have all of that knowledge and then plug that directly into your apps, we've been doing it internally. So if you look at Office and you want to embed a map, you can do that.
Yep.
If you look at some of our other applications, Antoine showed the store this morning. They're using Bing sort of deeply integrated in terms of the store search. They're using it in terms of search functionality. Now having that access yourself, right, being able to take advantage of some of the tools in natural user interface, the entities model, that's a big deal. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't think, it'll take a little while before that gets written up, before it's clear. But I think when that thing comes out, like anybody who's building an app, whether it's a website or an app, being able to basically pull from the Bing knowledge base, that's a big deal. And it's easy to code. We'll show you the code tomorrow.
Right on. Hey, so listen, for those of you out who are watching this right now on Windows 8.1, it's been around long enough for you to have installed it, go ahead and do the search charm thing, click on search, do a search for something, check out the results. That'll kind of visualize what you're just talking about in terms of entities.
Yep.
We got a question from Jeff. With more rapid release cycles, how do you ensure that the quality of the updates doesn't suffer? So we're going to go.
Yep.
How do we ensure it stays high quality?
I think part of that is just
question.
you need to make sure that you keep your development methodology, right? And so all the testing we would normally do, all of the work we would do, both with this preview, like the question before, when will it release? Hey, part of that's based on the feedback and the telemetry we get. So you can't lose your focus on the quality of the code. What you have to do is scope it the right size.
Okay.
And so I think in terms of rapid releases, it's picking the right size, it's making sure you make the right trade-offs, and then it's doing the same testing, the same debugging, all the normal work you would do, and not sort of trying to create shortcuts on that end, then you lose.
Okay. So we're looking at sort of like incremental changes, not like wide sweeping changes.
Yeah, I mean, if you notice what you do, the UI changes, the addition of new hardware, API additions, a lot of those are additions, extensions. It's not what we did in 8.1. I always think about releases sort of in two levels.
Okay.
There's engine changes. Like 8.0, that's an engine change. Like you changed everything at the core. And if you go back, go to old SQL. You go for about 10-year period and then you change the engine. When you change the engine, apps need to be rewritten, everything gets redone. And then you're doing incremental upgrades, right? You're adding things, you're extending the capability. This is an add and extend capability. And as long as you get a great engine, a great platform, you can do that for multiple cycles. So even if you look at XP or even go back to Windows 95. Well, Windows 95 had too long between it. But if you see, there was a few times where you had shorter releases because you just do an incremental.
Right on. Excellent.
Long answer, sorry.
No,
I'm rambling.
Excellent. No, we love it, man. So Fabian wants to know, what kind of improvements will we see in the final version of 8.1?
Well, come on. We showed you like everything under the sun today that they had. If there are things to show, we're saving them, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I would say you're going to get everything you saw today, and I would actually go download it because there's more in there than we had time to show. And then I got nothing else up my sleeve right now. I don't know if the Windows team does or not.
Right on. And Juan wants to know, as a developer, can I release a new version of a current app targeting 8.1? So for example, I have an app that's in 8.0, want to run an 8.1, take advantage of what is offered in 8.1.
Right.
Can I ship that up to the store today? Is there a preview store to get my apps onto the 8.1?
Good question. I didn't ask the guys that, so I'll have to check. We should follow up with you. Do me a favor, send me an email or send me a tweet at Stephen Googs.
You got it.
And I'll check, because I actually didn't check with the guys to know if we're doing that or not.
Right on.
Good question.
So at Stephen Googs, you get an answer.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I'll have to check.
Ken wants to know, are existing Win8 apps backward compatible in 8.1?
You don't need to resubmit to the marketplace. They just work. And so the nice thing about 8.0 is your apps will just run. The only reason you would update the app is if you want to take advantage of some of the new capabilities. You want to go after a higher DPI resolution screen. You want to take advantage of WebGL, some of the new capabilities, WebGL that they showed this morning.
Sure.
If you want to take advantage of new capabilities, then you might rebuild your app and resubmit it, in which case it'll run on the 8.1 machines.
Okay.
If you leave your app, all of your 8.0 apps work. You don't have to do anything to them. They'll be in the store. There's no changes. They're there.
Excellent. And we can never go through a Channel 9 Live at Build if we don't talk about XNA. So
Let's talk about games tomorrow and the keynote and what we're doing. I think we've got some stuff. I won't say X and A, but I think we've got something coming that you'll like. I'll just tease it that way.
And I was just playing around, Johnny. I mean, I know that's a great frame that .NET developers love.
We're going to talk about .NET tomorrow. We're going to talk about frameworks, and we'll talk about games. So if I take those three things and put them together, we should do something right.
Perfect. So let's talk a little bit about the new store, because Antoine, I mean, that looks beautiful, man.
Yeah, you know, I think if you look at the store the first year, I think honestly, part of the goal is it's like a warehouse. You just want to get it filled up. Like, you got to roll the pallets in. And I don't mean that, you know, derogatory about any of the apps, but you got to roll the pallet in of apps and you got to get it there. Yeah. So we've been filling the store. That's sort of part one. Second thing, though, once you get it built, is look, you got to do some merchandising. So what Antoine showed us, look, we got to relay out the store. You got to do a nice job in terms of where's the end caps, how do you highlight things, and so the redone store is really nice. We can promote things in the hero spot in a better way. We've got more featured things, and it'll learn from you. Take advantage of Bing to set it up. Top free, top fade. Less scrolling around. Like right now, it takes like 12 screens to go through all the different areas.
Yes.
We've got that cleaner. So the store has been completely redone. I think it'll do a much better job about merchandising. Tomorrow we'll probably talk a little about promotion, because first you fill the store, then you merchandise it, and then of course you got to promote it.
Absolutely.
So those are the three things.
I mean, let's be honest. That's the most important thing in a store. It doesn't matter what store you target.
Right.
People have to find your app.
That's right. And I think we did.
We can do a good job there.
We did an okay job in V1, but to be fair. But hey, we're doing a much better job. 8.1 is all about merchandising. I think you'll see a big improvement there.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, so Tim wants to know, is RT going to be treated as well as full Windows? Not sure what he means by that, but I think what he means is it also going to be on the rapid release cycle?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the same.
It's the same code base. There's no intention of changing it. We don't sort of have a separate fork where we say, okay, we're going to take RT over here, and we're going to take, on x86 or ARM different. It's the same code base. It's the same starting ground. Obviously, some recompile, but no changes there. We got more work to do to get RT out there and get more RT devices. You saw the Dell device today, but we're not backing off. There's no changes to the schedule.
Right on. So, and Ramesh on that topic would like to know, if you have a Surface RT today, can you get 8.1? I'd imagine, yes, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think some of the reason people might be confused is that, the difference in hardware, the fact, know.
I think people think of them as different. We tend to, obviously there's some differences, but from a code-based perspective, from an upgrade perspective, upgrade path, it's all the same.
It's totally the same, man. And thanks for using that RT device.
Yep.
All right, so Keith has a nice long question. What was the thinking behind a major upgrade of a flagship product just a year after the previous one, i.e. VS 2012, VS 2013, rather than an incremental upgrade? I guess people might be confused that if you release an incremental upgrade and call it a different year, that it's a full...
It's an interesting, because we did 8 to 8.1 and we did 2012 to 2013. In both cases, one of the things we committed to, one of the things we're working hard on is making sure we release our tools at the same pace as we're releasing the platforms. So one of the goals right there is making sure we have the tools available as we upgrade. The second thing with VS 2013 is, look, you've got so much progress in Azure, we've got to make sure we're doing a great job on the cloud side. So I think in terms of the Visual Studio, you're not just doing the update relative to the client side, you're doing the update relative to the cloud side. That's a pretty big release. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of work we've been doing. So we can debate whether the naming's right or wrong. I still think of it, I'll call it a major incremental update as opposed to a major change. And part of that's just naming conventions.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, an 8.1 is definitely is a significant upgrade. Right? So Jonas wants to know, can we use charm bar features from the desktop now in 8.1, like using share to translate via Bing or using devices to print text? So today, when you're on desktop mode...
No, you can't. Your existing desktop apps won't will into the share charm. I mean, those are modern apps. They have to have a contract that says, hey, I can share, or I can be an acceptor for sharing. I can search, or I can be searched. So an existing desktop app can't take advantage of that. So you won't get that functionality associated with that. That's still a modern app or a Windows 8.1 app. Windows 8 app, whatever we're calling these days.
But now listen, if you're a hacker and you're writing native code, you should be able to hack around that. But the point is that your app, you'd have to actually write code that isn't really supported, and current apps would never work.
Yeah, I'll just leave that alone.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Hey, hacker to hacker, brother. All right, Nate, is there any negative side to installing the 8.1 preview now, then upgrading to the full 8.1 release when it is released?
Look, I'm itching to play with it, so I'll do it. I'll reserve the right to say whether there's an install required. That's usually the question you get into. Hey, once I've done the preview, do I have to go reinstall? I haven't heard. I haven't checked on that. My assumption is probably not, but that's an assumption. We'll have to check.
Right on. And I'm sure there's a FAQ on the site where you got it from.
We'll track that down and get it up there.
Is Win 8.1 going to integrate and talk with Windows Phone deeper than ever?
You know, there was a question up there before, too, about phone. We didn't cover phone a lot today. We'll show you a little bit more tomorrow in terms of some of the dev side. You know, phone's got a lot going on. There's already a bunch of integration. I would say just stay tuned.
Okay.
You know, there's nothing to announce with phone today. We've got the thing we announced was some new partners and new phones.
Yes.
And right now, look, that phone is cranking. And all I'm excited about is some more of the new hardware coming out. And I will say stay tuned on phone side. Nothing to talk about today.
Excellent. All right. So can we expect more 7? I mean, devices. We didn't really talk about devices today in the keynote. They were everywhere.
I know.
They were beautiful.
I used to run the OEM group, so I love talking hardware.
Right on, man.
They did, you know, there was a bunch of them up there. There was a crud load. At Computex, we had about 50 of them. We showed 4 of the 7 to 9-inch or 7 to 8-inch tablets at Computex. So we had the Acer that everybody here got one of, and everybody out there should go get one of.
Nice.
So the Acer Iconia. And then we showed a mock-up of a Lenovo earlier, and then 2 other small ones. So I think there'll be more of them coming. That's a newer area. You know, I think we'll see how the feedback is from end users, how people use them. It's something where there's a market there. You got to go hit it well. Okay. So I expect more of them. I've seen more mock-ups than they showed.
Okay.
But then in terms of the rest of the hardware, I'll tell you what, man, the touch devices, the touch laptops are getting beautiful. The all-in-ones, the convertibles, they're getting thinner, lighter, faster. You're going to see higher DPI machines. You're going to see longer battery life machines.
Nice.
You know, look, most of the folks in this job, most of the folks I talk to, look, they want a keyboard. They like to write code.
Exactly.
You know, talk to Shuchuk, ask him about his favorite machine. He's like, I need to type. And so in terms of laptops, touch-based laptops, powerful laptops, we're going to show a really cool tablet tomorrow for gamers, so stay tuned for that one. And then check out the new hardware coming. It'll be here for the fall.
Yep.
There was if you get a chance, go do a search on Computex and go watch the keynote. Watch Nick Parker. Nick Parker did a walkthrough of about 50 new pieces of hardware on the stage.
Nice.
So if you want the full version, go check that video out.
Cool. And I'm assuming Haswell is somewhere in there.
It Haswell, you know, you got a bunch of different chips coming.
So 8.1 is awesome, George says. Are there any performance improvements under the hood? Well,
yeah, there's definitely, look at like D3D, T2D, and some of the graphics engines. Obviously, the change in the website of that thing to get rid of iframes, that's a big change. So there are a number of things that'll help the improvement, and both in terms of performance and then in terms of how your apps run.
Right on. And of course, WebGL was basically confirmed today.
Yep.
So, you know, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, WebGL, big deal.
Dude,
and,
huge deal.
You know, bunch of good stuff.
All right, so Zippy V, hey man, longtime Niner. Thanks for asking a question, Zippy. How are non-technical users going to be pushed to upgrade to 8.1?
I think there's sort of a couple things. When you pop up into the store, the first time 8.1's up there, you're going to get a pop-up that says, hey, 8.1 is available. And so do you want to upgrade it now? And if you can click yes, then it's super simple. There's no boxes to fill out. You just click yes, you see the spinning donut, you're done. You get a reboot, you're fresh.
Right on.
If you don't, you can say, hey, do it later. Then you'll get prompted. If you, for example, if Zippy builds an app that requires some of the APIs, then you'll get prompted through that app. We can also run things on the side if we want to do promotions. So there's other places we can plug it in. But because the store is an app, and because this upgrade is going to be in the store, we have the opportunity to make plugs along the way. I'll also say, get through the holiday season, some hardware will come with it, and of course other hardware will come with it, but the OEMs will start working on it. So I think it'll be pretty prolific. We got a lot of places we can go push on that, but it'll be front and center, like right when you load up the first time and then inside the store.
Awesome. Roman would like to know, when can we start developing against 8.1? When will the API be available?
Should be able to start developing against it now. I'll have to check on when the SDK update comes out. Should be, Jeff, right now that's what I thought. The preview, go get it. You got the Visual Studio Tools preview today, so you got everything you need. Go play.
Absolutely. Take advantage of some of those new APIs. I believe there's around 1,500 new APIs.
Yeah.
Some large number, maybe not that large.
Yeah, I think that's a large number, but there's some really nice extensions in there.
Right on, man. I see Rick Barraza shaking his head in the background.
We got a yes.
Yeah, all right. So Soma's here.
Good.
And he's going to be coming on next. Soma, of course, is your VP colleague.
Yeah. Soma got the tools done at the same time they got the OS done. I know he is super proud because they got VS 2013 out there. They got .NET 4.5.1, which we'll talk a little bit more about tomorrow. I know he blogged about some of it this morning.
Right on.
The tools team couldn't be happier. They did an awesome job. It's an incredible release. I thought Antoine showed a little bit of it today.
Totally.
There'll be a lot of sessions on it, but that team has done a great job, both across the Azure side and the client side.
Absolutely. And of course, tomorrow, in the keynote for tomorrow, you're going to really do a lot of demos with Shu.
A lot of demos.
We call him.
Shu. Yeah. So you got Satya up first. So Satya's going to rock and roll on Azure, and between him and Guthrie and the rest of the crew, that's guaranteed demo fest.
Rock and roll.
And then John and I sort of had a pact. I think about 80% of our time will be demos. We brought everything, including the kitchen sink. Probably too many, but we'll see if we can cram them in an hour and make it all work.
Awesome. Hey,
all right.
it's always great to talk to you.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Let me pop out of the way here.
All right.
All right, we'll see you later.
You take care.
Okay, you too.
Thanks for all the great questions. Keep them coming. Soma's on. You have Visual Studio. We have answers.